Hi, this is Luke Lammers, Associate Principal at Francis Howell Central High School. I want to take a minute to talk to you about the AP classes that we have available at Francis Howell Central. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Is AP for you? The point of this video is to talk to you about why you should consider taking an AP course as you register for classes for next year. So what is an AP class? AP stands for Advanced Placement. These are classes that are developed by the College Board with a curriculum that is aligned with freshman level college classes. At the end of the classes, students take an assessment in May. The maximum score on that assessment is 5, but if you get a 3 or better on that assessment, most colleges accept that class and you don't have to take it when you're in college. The tests do have a fee, usually around $92, $93 per test, and there is financial assistance available for families who need that assistance. Some of the benefits of taking these courses at FHC is that it shows you what a college class is like. It teaches things like organization, time management, and responsibility, all skills that help you be more successful once you're in college. It builds college-level reading, writing, and study skills. It shows colleges that you're willing to challenge yourself when you apply for school. It helps you to improve your ACT scores because you're taking more difficult, more challenging classes while you're here so that you're more prepared to do well on the ACT in the spring of your junior year. In addition, if you take an AP, a pre-AP, or an honors class while you're at Central, the grade points for that class are inflated. So an A counts as 5.00, a B counts as a 4.0, and a C counts as a 3.0. So you get that added benefit. You can visit the College Board for more information about AP courses by going to apstudent.collegeboard.org. Over the past several years at FHC, our AP program has seen tremendous growth with dramatic increases in the number of exams written, culminating with 781 exams written last year in the year 2017. While that growth has happened, performance has not only maintained its high levels, but has also increased. So as we expand the pool of students taking these classes, our performance on the assessments keeps getting better. What is it that colleges are looking for? Colleges award credit for scores of 3 or better on AP exams, so students don't have to take those classes while they're in college. It's a significant tuition savings. They also use scores on AP exams for placement of incoming freshmen, so they make sure that you're taking appropriate classes when you get to college. Every year we talk to admissions counselors when they come to school for the fair. They tell us that when they look at candidates, they're looking for students who were willing to challenge themselves. They place more value in somebody getting a B in an AP class than they would getting an A in a less challenging class. So that's all the more reason to challenge yourself with these courses while you're here. Some of the other benefits of taking AP courses is that it shows colleges that you're ready, but in so doing it builds confidence in your own abilities. When you take and complete one of these classes successfully, you're proving to yourself that you are college material, that you're ready to do this. In addition, if you pass the exam, that can save you anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, even more, depending on the college, in tuition and books. We've had graduates leave this school with a year and a half of college done, saving them upwards of $50,000 in tuition and books. It also helps you to avoid having to take remedial classes when you're in college that you don't get credit for but still cost you money. So at this point, maybe the better question to ask is, if you're planning on going to college, why wouldn't you take an AP class? We have several classes to choose from. They're all listed here. I'm not going to read them to you. You can read, and they're also listed in the course description guidebook. But also keep in mind that we have some online courses available. We also have some non-AP courses that if you take and complete these classes, you can still sit for AP exams. Some of the PLTW classes in computer science have that ability. In addition, our department chairs and AP teachers have identified 6 courses that they consider to be kind of the starter AP courses. These aren't necessarily easier courses, but they are more accessible. There are fewer prerequisites to be able to take the classes, and they are often taken by 10th graders. These would be AP Psychology, AP Art History, AP European History, AP Government, AP US History, and AP Human Geography. If you're considering taking an AP class and you're just not quite sure what to take, this is a good starting point. These are good, accessible courses for you to take your shot to see what that college class is really like. So, how do you enroll in AP classes? Well, talk to your teachers, your parents, and your guidance counselor as you prepare for the enrollment window. Take a look at the student enrollment guide to check if there are any prerequisites for these classes, and then when it comes time to select your classes, go ahead and pick some AP classes. But also protect yourself. Don't spread yourself too thin. If you've never taken an honors or a pre-AP or an AP course before, it might not be the best idea to give yourself a schedule full of AP courses. That's an awful lot to take on. So make sure you're stretching yourself, but don't stretch yourself too far. If a class has to have a recommendation, if you have to be recommended by a teacher to take the class and you're not recommended, you can still submit an appeal through guidance to be able to get into the class. And then once you're in the class, commit yourself to taking the AP exam that May. If you've never taken an honors or a pre-AP class and you're considering taking your first AP class next year, or maybe not next year, maybe the following year, there's a class we'd like you to consider called Foundations of AP. So how do you know if you are a good candidate for Foundations of AP? Well, ask yourself these questions. Are you taking your first AP or pre-AP class next year? Do you feel like pre-AP or AP class is a significant stretch for you? Are you planning on going to college? And if you go, will you be among the first people in your family to go to college? Do you like getting one-on-one help in your classes? Do you need to learn AP reading strategies and to be able to learn how to write college-level papers and essays? Do you need some help learning things like time management, note-taking, organization? Would you benefit from a study group of students who are taking some of the same classes that you are? If the answer to these questions is yes, AP Foundations might be a good fit for you. It is a 4-credit class that is taken later in the day, and it is one of your elective classes. The teacher of the class is Miss Fay. So if this is a class that sounds like it can help you be successful in your AP classes, you might want to consider it. So I've done a lot of talking here. I'd like you to hear from a couple of our graduates who took AP classes while they were here, and to hear about their experiences about how those AP classes helped them be successful when they were in college.
So when you were at Central, what AP courses did you take?
I took AP US, AP Calc BC, AP Stats, AP Government, AP World, Lit and Lang, and Micro and Macroeconomics, and AP Chem.
When you took those classes, did you take the tests?
Yeah, I took the test for all of those classes.
And why did you choose that?
I chose to take the test because, one, it saves a lot of money in the long run. Like, you're paying $90 for some classes, you get like 8 credit hours, and that's a great savings. And also because you it evaluates how much you're learning in those classes, and like if you're gonna be prepared. And I think it really does test that, because I was prepared in most of those classes.
When you were a student at Central, what AP courses did you take?
I took AP Economics, AP European History, and AP US History.
Okay. In those classes, did you take the tests?
I took the test for all 3.
For all 3 of them? Why did you choose to take the tests?
I took the test because I thought it would be a good way to get college credit and to just kind of see where I was and go in. It was a good indicator of where I needed to go into college, to start my coursework, where I need to know how to study and how much I needed to study when I got to Eastern. And hopefully, if I got the high enough score, I would get the college credit, and I would already be a step ahead and continue working towards my degree.
How did the AP classes you took here prepare you for what you've done at Eastern Illinois?
I thought it was a good standard to set. So I knew when I got my classes at Eastern that there wasn't much there wasn't that giant step they always say where you go from high school to college, there's like that giant step you have to get over, that hump of coursework, that the reading. It was a very smooth transition, and my teachers from Mr. Lover, Mr. Ricker, and Mrs. Schaefer set the bar perfectly so I could just walk into those classes and not have any ill effects from having that high school college hump.
Well, I know, like, compared to other people, they had a lot harder time because they didn't have a lot of the study habits, and I think they just didn't know what was in a college class. Like, for me it was challenging too, but the transition was definitely smoother because other people were like, wait a minute, we actually like have this much work like out of class. They didn't like understand that at first, whereas like I kind of knew going in that it would be like that.
I felt like it would have been just a little unnerving, just not quite seeing what a college text looked like, what is demanded from a college professor's point of view. Just having to just walk in and be like, well, I had these classes in high school, and all of a sudden you have like a 500-page textbook in front of you, and a teacher says, oh, read this chapter for next week, one chapter a week for the next 15 weeks. I felt like that has been overwhelming, but with the AP classes, I knew how to tackle like the reading, I knew how to tackle the homework assignments, and I knew how not to get behind.
I think definitely the AP Chem helped me because I'm going to be a chem major, but also like other classes, like all those my AP history classes, that allowed me to like really focus in college on my science classes, so I don't have to take as many credit hours. Same thing with Lit and Lang, and like I think Lit and Lang, what that helps you with is like writing, which you're going to have to do in any class, so that's definitely beneficial.
Before you ever took an AP class, what did you think about them?
I didn't know if it was going to be doable, because the first one that I took was sophomore year, and I was like, I don't know if like this is going to work out. Like, I also want to do sports, and I want to be involved in school, but it definitely is doable. And I think that going in, I always thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was. It ended up being like it all worked out.
Before I ever took an AP course, I thought, oh, that's just for like all the really smart kids and people who have like skyrocketing GPAs and all that stuff. And I got in, and I found this just wasn't the case. It was set to, as long as you had the right attitude, you will have success in any AP class, as long as you're willing to put the time and the effort in. And it's really rewarding after. When you get done, you're like, when the last month of class, you have your AP exam. At that point, all your coursework is done. You're able to sit back and kind of let the semester ride out, and you're able to be just relaxed and confident about what you've done all year.
In your experience, is it more about your natural level of intellect, or is it more about work ethic?
For me, I would say work ethic, because if you're like willing to put in the time, then you'll do fine.
I'm an economics major now, and what was interesting is that when I was freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in high school, I knew what I wanted to do in college. I knew I wanted to major in this field, and I got to college, and that just wasn't the case. When I was going back, I'm like, what do I want to do? It was my AP Econ class, I was like, that always came to the first thing of all my list of like, what do I want to do now? And I think that's mainly because with the AP classes, you're not just touching material, you're going in depth in the material. You're really finding out what you like and what you understand, and I felt AP Econ just opened up a bunch of doors that made a lot of other things click. And so that's one cool thing about AP classes. That you find out who you are as well as what they're trying to teach. It is a lot of work. It's not like you're not going to be able to just walk in, put your feet up on the desk, and be like, I got this. You're going to have to put the time and effort in. But if you do decide to take the AP course and put the effort in and go through all the process and listen to your teacher, you'll find that there's going to be benefits when you go off into your college, and just you'll develop a new understanding of simple concepts that you never realized, that little things that you learned all through school, whether it be from middle school, your freshman, sophomore year, all those concepts are starting to come together.
if you're like, if you think like, oh, I'm not like smart enough, I don't know if I'll like do well in the class, then I would definitely just like at least go for it, try one semester, but just know going in that you're going to have to put a lot more time than like regular classes.
So hopefully this was valuable information that can help you decide, is an AP class for you? We think AP is for you. If you have any further questions, please contact your guidance office or Mr. Lammers.